Okay, let's talk about artificial intelligence. You hear that term AI literally everywhere these days, right? It's on the news, it's in movies, it's almost certainly on the phone in your hand. And it feels like this huge, complicated thing that's going to change everything, which can be a little intimidating.
So let's just cut through all the noise. What we're going to do here is break down what AI actually is, how it works, and maybe most importantly, why it's become one of the biggest conversations of our time.
At its absolute core, AI is really just about making machines, well, smart. The whole goal is to build computer systems that can do things that, up until now, you really needed a human brain for. You know, things like learning from experience, reasoning through a problem, and just figuring stuff out. It's not magic, it's a very, very powerful field of computer science.
And here's the wild part. You are already using it every single day. When you type something into Google and it finishes your sentence, yep, that's AI. When Netflix or YouTube recommends the perfect thing to watch next, that's AI too. Talking to Siri or Alexa, seeing a self-driving car, even playing with those apps that make art from a simple sentence, you're interacting with AI. It's already completely woven into the fabric of our lives.
So, the big question is, how did we get here? How does a machine go from being a glorified calculator to something that can actually learn and create? Well, the secret is a massive shift in how we've started to teach them.
For decades, programming was all about rules. Super explicit. You tell the computer, if this happens, then do that. It's pure logic. But modern AI, and this is the game changer you see here, is totally different. We flip the script. Instead of feeding it rules, we just feed it a ton of data and say, here, you figure out the patterns.
And this is basically how it works. Let's take a classic example, teaching an AI to recognize a cat. The old way would be to try and write rules for pointy ears and whiskers. The new way? You just show it millions and millions of pictures that are labeled cat. The system, which is kind of like an artificial brain with neurons, just keeps adjusting its internal connections until it teaches itself what a cat looks like. It just gets it. It learns the vibe of cat without us ever explaining it.
So you might be wondering, why is all of this happening now? I mean, a lot of these ideas have been around for a while. And as AI pioneer Geoffrey Hinton puts it, we were missing two key ingredients. First, the internet gave us these unimaginably huge data sets to learn from. And second, we finally got computers that were fast enough. We're talking millions of times faster, thanks to powerful chips like the GPUs you'd find in a gaming computer. The data and the power finally caught up with the idea.
Okay, so we've got the how, but what about the so what? Why does this matter? Well, this new way of learning isn't just a party trick. It's already being used to solve some of the most difficult problems in the world.
Let's start with something huge, health and medicine. For decades, one of the holy grails in biology has been trying to figure out the 3D shape of proteins. It's an incredibly complex puzzle, but if you can solve it, you can unlock the secrets to diseases and create brand new drugs. And then, along comes an AI called AlphaFold 2. It was trained on all the protein structures we already knew, and by doing that, it basically learned the fundamental rules of biology on its own. And now it can predict the shape of new proteins with jaw-dropping accuracy.
And this is the part that's just mind-blowing. This AI can do in a few hours what would have taken a team of human scientists months, or sometimes even years, in a lab. That's not just a small step forward. That's a giant leap that could completely change how we fight diseases.
Okay, so from curing diseases to playing games. It might seem like a weird jump, but this shows you just how versatile AI is. For a long, long time, the ancient game of Go was considered, well, uncrackable for a computer. People thought it was just too complex, too intuitive. But then, in 2016, DeepMind's AlphaGo program did what everyone thought was impossible. It beat the world's best Go player. And it didn't do it by just brute forcing the calculations. It actually developed its own strategies, moves that human experts had never even conceived of, after playing against itself millions of times. This was a moment that experts seriously thought was still decades away. So, with all of this incredible power, the power to solve biological puzzles and master ancient games, comes some equally profound responsibility. And as these systems get smarter, we're being forced to ask some of the biggest ethical questions of our time.
And look, this isn't just science fiction hype. When you see a statement like this, signed by hundreds of the top AI researchers on the planet, we're talking the people who are actually building this stuff, it shows you just how seriously they are taking the potential downsides. This leads us to these huge conversations that are happening right now around the world. We're talking about fairness, about truth, about the future of jobs, and even some really heavy long-term questions about the future of humanity itself.
So, first up is bias. This is a big one. Since AI learns from data that we humans created, it can also pick up our worst habits and prejudices. Think about it. If you train a hiring AI on a company's past hiring data, and that data reflects historical biases, the AI is just going to learn to keep making those same biased decisions. It can basically bake unfairness right into our systems.
Then there's the whole problem of misinformation. We are now in an age of deepfakes, where AI can generate images, audio, and video that you literally cannot tell from the real thing. It begs a terrifying question. How do we know what's real anymore? How can we trust what we see and hear when it's so easy to create a convincing lie?
And of course, we have to talk about jobs. In the past, automation was mostly about replacing manual labor, but this feels different. AI is getting really good at thinking tasks, writing code, analyzing documents, managing projects, and that means a lot of white-collar jobs could be completely changed or maybe even disappear. It's a huge economic question we're just starting to grapple with.
So that leaves us here, at this incredible crossroads. On one hand, AI has the potential to help us solve some of humanity's biggest challenges, curing disease, fighting climate change, you name it. But on the other hand, it brings these enormous risks. So the question for us, for everyone, isn't if we should use this technology. That train has already left the station.